black university. What do you feel about that kind of environment? That's a good point. Another popular college is Howard University. A lot of people also go there. A lot of black people also go there. A lot of people make the choice to go to Howard University. There are students that decide to go to college.
You brought up a good point by the fact that maybe there are less black students who want to go to college, but you have schools like Howard University in Washington, D.C., which could be far away from their home. And there are many black students that do go to Howard. And they want to be in D.C. D.C. is small, but there's a lot of diversity there. And there's a lot to learn there. I mean, it's close to Gallaudet, so you see that diversity there.
There's also a lot of stereotypes, such as doctors, you typically think of a male. And often, when you think of an interpreter, maybe you think of a white interpreter. So last week I went to MSLS, the Milwaukee Sign Language School, and there was only one black interpreter there. I think they kind of relate, like that example. Oh, never mind. My question relates to what you asked Molly about black colleges. Do you feel that they have ASL classes? Do they have exposure to interpreters there? So my question is, do students going to the black colleges have exposure to other black deaf students there? Do they see interpreters? Are there ASL classes for them to experience? Okay, responding to that question. Spelman College, we're going to talk about that school right now. Many black deaf students go there.
Yeah, I threw out Spelman College as just an example. Would they even have services needed for black deaf students? But at Howard, it's close to Gallaudet. I mean, students at Gallaudet can take classes at Howard and vice versa. So they are exposed to sign language. They are exposed to the deaf community. You know, it could happen where somebody could pick up on seeing sign language and wanting to do something with it.
So you're right, maybe people don't have exposure. Maybe they don't have exposure to interpreters or possibly deaf individuals. Maybe they're not interested in learning or identifying the exposure that really is there. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but there's really not a lot of colored people in ASL films. I think there is a person of color in a recent ASL film. But there really, overall, there's very few people. Typically, you see white individuals in the films and that's it. There's just not enough exposure. Also, there's really not a lot of deaf people in the acting community. You all know about Marlee Matlin. But you don't see people like C.J. Jones. In April, he was here, is that right? For Deaf Day. That was good exposure. It's important to have a variety of exposure to the different people in the deaf community. It's also important to have an exposure to interpreters of color. It's important to be eager also so that you can recognize the different groups. So we have the Black Deaf group. We have a Latino Deaf and Hard of Hearing Association. Personally, I feel that less exposure equals less interest.
We're gonna switch after this.